Okay, so welcome from the bunkers at Celesta headquarters. This is a quick Let's Play Celesta U, a new game from Celesta, and this is based on the early testing alpha version, so there may be some changes, but the idea is to just give you guys a sense of how the game plays, what the dynamics and elements are, and really just how to get going with it. So let's do that. Let's jump in. As you can see, we are introduced to our links back to the forum and so forth. There is a prologue. I won't play that because that video is already on YouTube, so if you want to have a look at that, you can go to the Celesta channel on YouTube. Let's just dive right in and play. Right, so as a character, you get the opportunity to personalize your character. So just for this, I'll be Joe Black. And you can pick one agent specialty. Now, a lot of these won't make any sense right now until you get a chance to actually get into the game, so we won't talk about them a lot. We'll just leave it as is. There will be difficulty. I think we've set it at sandbox for the Let's Play, so we'll just make sure that that's there, and that gives us, I think, about 200 turns, and we'll play. Right, so this is the first scene, and you start in the office of the president. You've just heard the knocking at the door, and there she is, and she runs the place. And as a Celesta agent, your job is to basically make sure that she's under your control so that you can then begin the rest of your mission, which is to take control of the university and then begin setting up training programs, and then finally enroll some students and train them, and eventually auction them off to make some money, because that's what Celesta is all about. So let's see what we can do. We are in President Whitney Prescott's office, and we have some options. Love to do some surveillance, but that's not in place yet. We can check her file. This gives us a little bit of information that Celesta has gathered on her, which gives us her backstory. The videos are not enabled in this version, but they will be in the final version. And if they were, we could click on the video icon and pull up a little video of her to get more of a sense of her. We can talk to her.
I'm Whitney Prescott, president of Susan B. Anthony University.
And that's her. And we learn about her. If we hover over her, she gives us a little bit more of information. Okay. So we've talked to her, we've checked her file. Now we really want to control her. And there are different ways to control a character. As a Celesta agent, you've been trained in 8 specific methods, and some will work better with others depending on what their background and weak points are. For this quick intro, we're going to use the Hornical approach, the attempt to control using Hornical. If you've played Celesta games before, you know that Hornical is a special chemical compound, which is a kind of a combination of aphrodisiac and mind control element. And once you expose it to a character, it ensures that you have a 100% chance of success in controlling that character. So we'll use that, and then we'll talk about some of these others in future Let's Play. But for right now, we want to take control of this character, because once we can control this character, that allows us to do more and control other characters and put policies in place, which we'll see in a minute. So let's click on that.
I feel strange. What is that?
So you can see she's reacted to it. That collar always indicates that we now have control over a character. So let's go back. All right, now we have some new options that have come up. We can go to the campus. We can end the turn. Let's go to the campus and have a look. So this is Susan B. Anthony University, and this is really where all the action in this game takes place. And you can explore as much of the university every turn as you like. So we can see here, we can go to the Jennifer Page Hall. Now this is the dormitory, which eventually will be filled up with students, but right now we don't have any, because we don't control the campus fully yet. We have the administration building, we have the bursar's office, University Health Services, various faculty departments, and eventually we're going to visit all of these as we attempt to take control of the owners of these buildings, the staff members and professors. For now, let's go back to what is now our
Good
office.
morning, sir.
And as you can see, since we've now got control over the president of the university, we've reduced her to basically an assistant, which is the role that she'll play for us from now into the rest of the game. The other thing that we've got is not only taken control of her office and put in some new artwork, which we think is probably more appropriate, we can now do some extra things, which we couldn't do before. First of all, we get control of a budget. And the budget increases every turn. And this is money that you'll be able to use to buy structures and make improvements on the campus that will help you. You see, we can listen. We'll look at that in a minute. There are alerts. We can enact policy. And since we have control of this character, we can have a little bit of fun with her. Let's have a look at that.
How may I be of service?
So she's ready for us. And we'll talk about various levels of control, but let's have a look at some of the things that we can do with our new friend.
I can't believe I'm doing this.
Again, in the videos, well, this actually does work, so we'll take that off quickly because we didn't want to show that.
Good morning, sir.
So we can have a bit of fun with her. We can listen.
Please pay your student activity fee at the bursar's office.
And that just listen gives us a sense of what's going on really with the rest of the students in the campus, the normal students in campus, before we take full control. So there are various announcements, and we get a sense of what kind of the perspective and outlook that the students have. And they'll change as we tighten our grip on the university. Okay, let's go back to our office.
Good morning, sir.
Let's have a look at alert. Okay, so alert doesn't seem to work yet. We'll get back to that in a later iteration. For now, let's look at enact policy.
You have now locked down the entire institution and you finally begin harvesting the fruits of your labors. Excellent work, my friend. Headquarters is very impressed with your progress so far.
So that's Mr. Kempler, who is our sort of our controller agent. He's senior to us, and he'll pop in from time to time to give us feedback on how we're doing. So now we see what the current status of campus security is, which is it's pretty much all open. And then we've got 4 policies now that we can have a look at. And you have to institute the policies in a progressive manner. And until you actually can have the requirements for the policies, you can't enact them. So the first one is speech code, so we can have a look. That requires control of the president, which we have, so we can enact that policy. Campus life requires control of the director of health services and the director of campus security, and so on. But for now, since we do have the requirement, let's click on...
Here's your coffee, sir.
There's our little assistant. Thank you very much. Put that down for a moment, please, Whitney, and I'll review the speech code policy, which is the first policy we're going to put into place. And this is an important one because once we put this into effect, we now have surveillance. If you remember, we couldn't do surveillance on the president before because we didn't have that policy in place. And there are some various other aspects of this policy which you can have a look at, which sort of give a sense of how we're going to lock this university down level by level until we finally control it. And we can basically do whatever we want. So we're going to enact that. It's now enacted. And we'll return to our office.
Sir.
Right, so I'll leave it at that for the first Let's Play version episode, and I will come back with more. Thanks for joining me.